Hello. So welcome to a little production breakdown. It's Adam from King Lie here. So I'm going to be breaking down one of the tracks from our new EP and Delusion for you. Which, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. I promise it's quite good. Yeah, it's been a bit surreal seeing them all out in the world. Feels like these songs have, well, it doesn't feel like these songs have been in our heads for years. They have been. So it's been lovely hearing responses, hearing people enjoying them. Yeah, and it really does mean the world to us. So thank you to everyone who's listened to it so far. If you're somehow watching this and you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. And yeah, so let's get down to business. So this, if you don't know, I put out a poll on Instagram a few days ago asking which song people would like to see a production breakdown of. And it was close between this and Oxygen, but the winner was in fact the opening track, Gravestones and TV Screens. So just to give you a little bit of background, this is the third oldest song, so second most recent after Icona. I believe the order we're at the moment was Oxygen, Black Rose, Gravestones, Icona. Icona was definitely the latest. That's by far the newest. Oxygen and Black Rose were the two first songs we wrote when Adam and Lewis joined the band in 2017. So they've been around for a long time. These ones less so. We've been polishing them up, added loads of things when we were recording them. But yeah, so this has been a long time coming, but not the longest time coming. So yeah, I'm just going to do a quick breakdown of all these tracks. Not all these tracks. That would be extensive and unbelievably dull. So I'm just going to go through some of the more interesting parts of this song. Starting with, if I can find it. So the opening sound that you hear on the EP. Now, this was something we struggled with for a long, long time. We thought, how do we open our debut EP? And how do we open this song? Because we didn't really have an intro. When we do it, we play it live. We have kind of a set intro. Then we just go straight into my chords. But then we found this among some relics of recording, and we thought we had to use it. And you're about to hear Adam Barrett's best Mickey Mouse impression. There we go. So a bit of background to that. That is in fact where we were recording some guitars. Not some guitars, all of the guitars I think. In Leeds. It was one day we were recording, I forget what we were recording. Instinct tells me it was Icona. But it could have been Black Rose. The two later songs that we recorded them in EP order generally. Yeah, we were recording that, and then it was pouring down outside. So we thought, hey, why not get some rain sounds for Icona? Which we did end up using. You can hear that in the intro and in the little bit after the bridge. So we set up a few mics. We did a few takes inside the place we were recording, pointing up at the roof, and then we did a few just facing an open door. We should have realised this, but the ones facing the open door were way better, and we ended up using them. But this is from the other mic. I think just when we were setting it up for the first time, we had to be very, very careful when we were cropping this, because just before this track starts, Adam completely clips the mic by doing a rather iconic gorilla impression, which I'm certain will reveal itself at some point to you guys. Not for your sanity. For your sanity, I really, really, truly hope it doesn't. That's the intro of the song. Well, it's not the entire intro of the song. So we've got obviously we've got my guitar swell, which is just a very, very simple filter sweep. Now I'm just going to zoom in a bit because it's getting a bit hard to keep track of. It's just a very, very simple filter sweep on it. Then underneath it we have this lovely little synth which swells up. Very mysterious. Just because it needed some more beef to it. Fills out the spectrum a bit more. Then this intro, we wanted it to sound really, really close. We wanted it to sound not distorted, compressed, tight in your face. Everything's very there. So Adam's lead part here is very thick, and it needed to be thick because there's no bass. So I did some like parallel distortion stuff, just very digital, very bit crushed, very nasty. But we like nastiness here in King Lear. We're a fan of nasty, when it comes to music, especially. Yeah, everything just sounds really, really close. My vocals are very, very compressed to the point of agony. And you hear the sound of thunder above the clouds when there's nothing else. Oops, with a bit of slap delay on it, just so it didn't sound so dead. One thing I should note is that these drums I did not mix, so I will not be talking about them. The mix of these drums should be fully credited to Mr. Ben Needham, our good friend Ben Needham, who mixed all these drums for us, and they all sound awesome. So yeah, go and check him out. He's very, very cool. Does some stonking guitar covers on YouTube. So yeah, highly recommend him for your viewing pleasure. The one thing I did do is I just added some parallel compression and distortion to that, just to make it sound really, really gross. So yeah, after that we kind of some of the parts in this build up, this part especially, actually, this was one of the hardest tones to get on the EP. It's this part. Because it's a very plucky part. It's very difficult to strike the balance of hearing the notes and being over fizzy and gross and trebly and piercing. Then obviously you can go the other way, which it sounds smooth and nice and kind of like a thick layer, but then you get to the point where you can't hear the notes. So we ended up going with a compromise. We recorded quite a few different guitar tracks, blended some together with some DIs, and recorded the high octave and the low octave separately and panned them either side just to give it a bit of distance. And yeah, I'm really happy with this tone. It was a pain to get, but I'm happy with it. Yeah, so we also added just some thickener stuff to this section. So we've got a Mellotron and some EBO stuff. It's quite subtle in the background. The Mellotron sound in Logic I got quite addicted to throughout this EP. I think it sounds like awesome. EBO, love EBO. So if you don't know what an EBO is in fact a it's not within reach. It's something that you hold against a guitar string, and I think it creates a magnetic field and it vibrates the string for you, so it kind of simulates a violin bow, hence EBO, electronic bow. So yeah, that was very fun to use. We used that in Arcana as well in the second verse. Then my guitar tones, can't tell, I'm a big fan of Queens of the Stone Age. Just grim. I think I used a Big Muff for this song. Big Muff with Catlin Bread SFT, if you're wondering and you like pedals. Very nice pedals. I would highly recommend them. Then we went on to the riff. The riff is, honestly, we were so worried about how sick this riff was going to sound. We were worried that it wasn't going to hit you as hard as we wanted it to. But honestly, we because of that, we spent a lot of time recording guitars. So all this riff is my guitars panned left and right, Adam's guitar pan center, some disgusting bass, and some really nicely mixed drums, courtesy of Ben Needham. And it just sounds great. It's just nasty. We tried to strike a balance between our guitar tones, because I like darker guitar tones. He likes amorphous E. Adam likes brighter guitar tones. So we kind of found this middle ground where both of our guitar tones just work. You kind of get the fizz from Adam, and you get the kind of beef low mids from me. So yeah, it just sounded great. It didn't need much work. Again, the first verse, not much to say about it really. We've got Adam's part here, which we start with a filter sweep on one side, and then it goes stereo here. Just add some thickness. We've got some claps over the drums, which is just us in this room clapping to a mic that was on my bookshelf over there. You might have seen in our stories recording some gang vocals. Just needed something to hit that snare even harder because it's a 4 on the floor groove. So we just wanted those snares to really punch. And yeah, there's not much else to this section really. Got my chords which have some nice reverb on them. Wherever they are. Here they are. Got some pitch shifted reverb just to give it a bit of width and a bit of kind of ambience. So moving on to the pre-chorus. One thing more to know about the verse, the bass was very important here. We needed to get this bass tone right. Needed to be almost like square wavy, just nasty in your face. Emphasizes the beats perfectly. The pre-chorus, we were, one thing that we were very conscious of is we wanted the chorus to kick, and for a while it wasn't, and we kept being like, oh, should we turn up the chorus? And then we just thought, nah, that's too much. We don't want the rest of the song to seem quiet in comparison, or for the chorus to like blow your head off. So what we thought we'd do is we'd make the pre-chorus sound a bit thinner. Excuse me. So we took bass out of most instruments and took a bit of treble out of most instruments. So then when the chorus hits, it just goes, whoa, expands, massive. So the pre-chorus vocals here are very squashed. Hate till hate gets old. With some crazy, weird, glitchy delays for a plugin that I love. Called the Bubbler. Which is fantastic. And then all these parts, they just have a little bit less bass. Like if I play my pre-chorus rhythm going to the chorus, you can just hear it here. It just kicks up a notch. There's actually probably more treble on the pre-chorus one than in the chorus, but it doesn't need it because Adam comes in with this spicy little lead line. But yes, so going to the chorus again didn't need much. It was more kind of making sure that every part of it was well recorded. Little tidbit for you: the amps that we used. I think I remember putting on a post as we finished recording that we had a bit of a nightmare process with this EP. We felt like we always used to joke there was this EP demon after us, making sure we couldn't release these songs. And one of the ways in which that demon manifested itself was in constantly breaking our gear. So when we started recording Adam's guitars, he had his old Marshall stack, and we started recording Gravestones. I believe we did the chorus, the verse, and the riff. No, that can't be right. That's most of the song. Probably chorus and riff. Actually, that sounds right. And then the amp just died. It just stopped working. So we kind of spent the rest of the evening playing Mario Kart and, board games and stuff. But, it was a terrible evening. Hate that stuff. But, yeah, so this is... The rest of it was recorded on Adam's new Vox amp, which is a delightful amp. But this is one of the only hints of Marshall on the EP. And I believe that is just going straight into a Marshall with a whammy. Might be with one of his distortion pedals. Might be the Fender distortion. Which again is a fantastic pedal. And other than that, it's just we've got this drone that I made in a program called Cecilia, which is this granular synthesizer. That's the word. I know what I'm talking about. Which just, you can basically put a sound in that's like 10 seconds long and you can make it sound massive and make it go on for hours, which is right up my street. So this is the drone. I believe that is a guitar note. Actually, if I take these plugins off, I will tell. Okay, so apparently these plugins really don't do much. I think it's just a distorted guitar note with more digital distortion on top of it. Yes, that just something to fill out the chorus a bit. Then at the end of this chorus, we've got this big chonky section. And that just needed some more beef. So we added some really, really gross guitars. Which I believe is an already distorted signal from my amp going through more digital distortion. Actually, I can probably check. Yeah, it's only got one distortion plugin on it. That's not creating that much distortion. Yeah, so in the verse 2, I think this verse kind of embodies our philosophy with second verses and stuff. In most songs, not all songs, but I think second verses, if they sound a bit different from the first verse, I always think it adds a bit of interest. Feels like the sections are repeating less, because obviously verses usually don't have as much of a hook as a chorus. So obviously we've still got the claps here, but we have a little lead line that I wrote while we were recording my parts, which is just this. And then on the other side, we panned in a fully reverbed piano to double it. Barely audible. And then Lewis wrote this little Wurlitzer line. Just little details like that, I think go a long way to make sections feel unique. So if you listen to it, it just adds a bit more atmosphere. Weird sound going on there. Yeah, it just adds a bit more atmosphere to it. Pre-chorus and second chorus are pretty much the same, actually. Adam does a different lead line here, which I always love. Actually, this was more martial. Yeah, I recognise that sound anyway. I think that's a martial. So I think it might have been the chorus and the chorus, pre-chorus, and intro, I believe. So this chorus is pretty similar to the rest of the choruses. Yeah, pretty similar. But then the post-chorus, we had a bit of fun with this. So obviously we kept the drone going to keep filling it out. And then we brought back the Mellotron and the Ebo from the build-up, because this section... Sorry, shut up. This section brings back the clean lead part. Just realised now that we have a very, very interesting perception of what clean is, if we're going to name that clean. It's not clean at all. And then we added some... Well, it's interesting, this section, because it's kind of... There's not really one lead part. There's not one melody. There's a few different parts. There's this quite interesting bass line that Mike does. There's that part that Adam plays. I'm just playing chords. But we thought it needed something else, something to kind of give it a bit of a push, melodically rather than, energetically, I suppose. So I thought of this idea to just record some kind of gang style vocals. They're not really gang. I think there's only one each side. Yeah, there's only one each side, so they can't be called gangs. But just some gang vocals through loads and loads of reverbs. It just give this ethereal quality, just a little bit, just a hint. It's very halo-y. But yeah, it just added another layer to it. I think this section and the bridge after it is all about. It's got loads of different layers to it, lots of different melodies going on at the same time. When it sounded a bit chaotic. Then Mike does this super duper cool bass, kind of ascending bass riff thing. Just the grossest, most crushed bass tone. Then we get to the bridge. So there's a few little interesting things about this bridge. They're all down here. So it needed atmosphere, it needed this big wash sound in the background. So a lot of that was just putting reverb on the parts. But we also thought we'd, I believe this is the same drone as in the chorus, as in we put the same sample, little snippet of audio into Cecilia, but we used a few different settings and maybe a different module on it, just to get slightly different sound that swells, and then at the end swells, swells up a lot here, I believe. Just when my vocals come in. Then we recorded some guitar scratches, which we love the sound of these. We always want to put these in songs. And then I kind of panned them a bit sporadically and a bit chaotically to just make it feel like it's not being, you can't contain it in one spot in the mix. This is what that sounds like. That's literally just me sat here doing that. Yeah, obviously it's filtered and it's compressed and it's got loads of delay and stuff on it. But that's the gist of it. But what my favourite little detail in this song is this little bit of audio. Which might not seem like something to get excited about, but let me tell you a story. So I believe it was 2018. I wrote an initial demo for this song, which was originally entitled Fuzzy Boy, because of the really fuzzy riff. But I originally had this little bit of audio on my iPad. I used to just plug my guitar into my old Boss amp and then DI it straight into my iPad. And I must have just used like a Proco Rat or something and a reverb pedal and just thrown it in here. And we were trying to recreate it here, and it just, nothing sounded better than that. So we thought, bugger it, we'll use that exact thing. So if you listen in the background, you can actually hear the rest of Gravestones and a metronome from the original demo, because there was something wrong with this adapter I was using. I think it bled some of the monitor signal from my headphones back into the mix, which is exactly what you want in a little adapter. So yeah, that's we loved throwing that in. It took a bit of trying actually, because it already has reverb on it, so we need to add tons more reverb and then make sure that the reverb tail it didn't feel like it was cutting out. But yeah, so over here we've got some bridge hits with loads and loads of reverb. Just some fuzzy nastiness. Just to add a bit in the background, make it sound a bit fuller. Then we come to the last riff, which we just, similar ethos to the second verse, I suppose. Obviously it's still the riff, and this riff only comes back twice in the song, so we want it to sound like the riff. We don't want it to sound like anything else. We don't want to make the riff not the main bit of this, but we thought we'd add to it a little bit by adding a few things. So we brought the drone back from the choruses subtly underneath. So if I play it and then I'll mute it and unmute it. Actually, I'll solo it and unsolo actually. You'll probably hear it better. Just there subtly in the background, adding a bit of depth, filling out the filling out the stereo spectrum. And then on the last bit of the riff, when the drums speed up, we decided to add some beef, like at the end of the first chorus, some juicy octave beef this time, this is horrendous. When I say horrendous, I mean it's one of the greatest things I've ever done and ever will do. Obviously that's got a lot of really nasty stuff on it, One bit I forgot to mention in the bridge is this riff, which I spent a long time, as you can see from this wonderful array of plugins, which is 4 distortion plugins in a row, with this already distorted guitar. Just gross. This section especially, we want it to feel quite chaotic because you've got my melody, you've got my riff, you've got Adam's part, you've got the bass part, which is this kind of little rising motif that he plays. Just really simple, but everything together. There's quite a lot going on. Yeah, so that's pretty much Gravestones, to be honest. There's not much more to it. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this little production breakdown of the first song on the EP. There might be more. Who knows? Who knows? This was quite fun to make. So I hope you enjoyed it. Keep streaming on Delusion. If you haven't already, give us a follow on Instagram at King Liar Band. All our links are in our bio. YouTube, Bandcamp, everything like that. So yeah, I will see you around next time. Perhaps for one of these. Perhaps if you come and see us play live, which will be happening very, very soon. We have some exciting stuff to announce to you. Bye. Bye.